Hello students, again I am here with another video of Unit 2 Functions in C++ and Working with Objects in C++. Our today's topic is Static Members and Friend Functions in C++. The objective of today's session is to learn about the static data member and member functions, as well as we will learn friend functions and pointer to members in a class. Let's start with our first topic, that is static members. Yes students, we can define class members static using static keyword. Whenever we declare any member of a class as a static, it means no matter how many objects of a class are created, there is only one copy of a static member available in a memory. That means static member exists even if there is no object of a class exists. If we did not created any object of a class, then also we can have a copy of static member in a memory. So we can say a static member is shared by all the objects of a class. Let's see the static data members. Yes, as we can have data members as well as member functions as a member of a class, we will see static data members and static member functions in today's topic. First is a static data member. Let's see. It is initialized to 0 whenever the first object of its class is created. Yes, it is the one of the most important characteristic of a static data member. Only one copy of a static variable is created for entire class. Yes students, whether it is a data member of a class, but as it is a static data member, only one copy of this variable is created in a memory, and that copy will be shared by all the objects of a class. Static members are declared inside the class and they are defined outside the class. Yes friends, we have to declare a data member as a static within a class, and we have to define that data member outside a class. So it is visible only within the class, but we can say its lifetime is the entire program. That means we can access the static data member throughout the execution of a whole program. Let's see the syntax to declare a static data member. See friends, here we have used a keyword static, and then after we have declared a variable as a simple variable. That means static data type and then variable name. This is the declaration of static data member. Now the syntax to define a static data member is data type, then class name with scope resolution symbol, and then variable name is equal to value. Here value is a optional thing. If we want to initialize our static data member, then we can assign some value here. Here is the example of defining a static data member outside a class. See, int is a data type of static data member count, and it is declared in a item class. So it is written here int item scope resolution count. So we can say this is the way how we can define our static data member. Now let's see static member functions. Static member functions are associated with a class. They are not associated with any object. That means we can say static members are a class level members. They can be invoked using a class name. Yes, if we are using normal member functions, then we have to use object, but here we are talking about static member functions. Then they can be called using a class name, as they are a class level members. They can access only static members of the class. That means we can use only static members, that means other static data member as well as static member functions within a body of a static member function. Then the next thing is they cannot be virtual. That means they cannot be used as a virtual function. And the next thing is they provide encapsulation. And a static member function does not have these pointer. In C++, we have a concept of this pointer which is used to point to the member of a class which is pointed by a current object. But here, as static members are class level members, we cannot use this pointer concept with static member functions. The syntax to call a static function is class name with scope resolution symbol and then function name. Let's see one example. Here I have declared one class test. It is having a simple data member integer code and one static data member, that is static int count. Now in public section we have two functions. First one is a void set count. As we can see, it is a normal member function. And second one is a static void show count. That means here static keyword exists. That means show count is a static member function of class test. Now see friends, here we have defined a static member function inside a class declaration, and there is one line written in its function body that cout count. That means it will display the value of count variable. Now friends, as we discussed in our previous slide, static member function can access only other static members of a class. That means here if we are accessing a variable count, then we can see that it is a static data member of the same class. That is why we can use count here. But we cannot use void set count and integer code, these two members of a class, within the function body of a static show count. Then after completion of a class declaration, we have defined a static data member count with initial value 0. And in a main function we invoked a static member function show count. See, here we have not declared any object of the class test. We just used the name of a class with scope resolution symbol to call this function. So from this example we can clearly see how this static data member and static member function works. Now let's see the memory allocation for these static members. As we can see from our previous program that set count and show count are the member function of a class test, and count is a static data member of a class test. So all these three will be shared by the objects S1, S2 and S3 in a program. But as we declared integer code as a normal data member, it can have a separate copy for each object. So this is how memory allocation for the static data members and static member functions is done. Now our next topic is friend functions. If a function is defined as a friend function, then the private and protected data of a class can be accessed using the friend function. The compiler knows a given function is a friend function to that class by the use of a keyword friend. So friends, we can make our user defined function as a friend to a class. For accessing the data, the declaration of a friend function should be made inside the body of the class. We can declare a friend function anywhere in the class, either in a private or in a public section. But we have to use a keyword friend before declaring the function. See, the syntax to declare a friend function is here friend, then return type, function name and argument. That means particular function will be declared as a normal member function starting with keyword friend. Then a function can be defined normally. See, the function prototype of a friend function and a normal member function is same. But in function body, private and protected data of a class in which that particular function is declared as a friend can be accessed from this function because it is a friend of a class. So this is how a friend function is accessing the data member and member functions of a class without creating object. So let's discuss about some of the characteristics of a friend function. First one is it is not in the class to which it has been declared as a friend. That means friend function cannot be considered as a member of a class. But as it is not in the scope of a class, it cannot be called using the object of that class. That means as it is not a member of the class, there is no need to create an object to call that a friend function. Then it can be invoked like a normal function without the help of the object, and it can be declared either in public or private section of a class. One more important characteristic is it has the object as argument. Yes friends, as we can pass object of a class as an argument to a user defined function, we can pass object as argument to a friend function. Now let's see pointer to the members of a class, the next topic. C++ provides 3 pointers to the member operators to access the class members through pointers. We already discussed about this pointer to members in our unit 1 videos. Let's see. The first one is a scope resolution with asterisk symbol. It is used to declare a pointer to the member class. The second one is a dot operator with asterisk symbol. It is used to access a member using object and pointer of the class. And the third one is a arrow operator with asterisk symbol. It is used to access member using a pointer of the object and the pointer of the member. Now we will see each of them one by one in detail. So the first one is a scope resolution operator with asterisk symbol. This member dereferencing operator allows us to create a pointer to a class member which could be a data member or a member function. A syntax to use this operator is data type, class name, then scope resolution with asterisk symbol, and then name of a pointer is equal to address of operator with class name, scope resolution, data member name. Here data type is the data type of the data member. Then class name is the name of a class of which the data member is of part. Then pointer name is the name of a pointer which is pointing to the data member or a member function. And at the last, data member name is the name of the data member being referenced by the pointer name. Then the next one is a dot operator with asterisk symbol. This operator uses a pointer to a class member and an object of a class to access the member of a class. This class member could be a data member or a member function. Yes friends, As in previous slide we have defined a pointer which can point to a member of a class, and in this slide we are discussing about a way how that particular pointer to data member can be accessed. So here is the syntax: object name dot asterisk symbol and then name of a pointer to the data member. Here pointer to the data member is the name of a pointer which is pointing to the data member. Let's see both of these operators with example. See, here I have declared one class, its name is capital A, and it has two data members X and Y. Now in main section, first of all we will define a pointer to a member variable X of a class A. That means we will use a member dereferencing operator, scope resolution with asterisk symbol. So we have to write first of all a data type of a data member X and then name of a class with scope resolution and asterisk symbol, and then name of a pointer, that is P1 here, is equal to address of operator with name of a class, scope resolution, name of a data member. Here we can see that this line creates a pointer to a member variable X of class A. Let's see the use of both of these operators with example. Here I have declared one class A which is having two public data members X and Y. In main function, first of all we will declare a pointer to a member variable X of a class A and pointer to a member variable Y of class A. So in first line, int A scope resolution asterisk P1 equal to ampersand A scope resolution X. This line will create pointer P1 to the data member X of class A. Same way in the second line, pointer P2 will be created which points to a data member Y of class A. Now we created one object OB of class A, and with using the dot operator with asterisk symbol, another member dereferencing operator, we will initialize data members X and Y with using pointers. That means OB dot star P1 equal to 10 will assign value 10 to variable X, and second line will assign value 20 to data member Y. Now in next two lines we will try to display the value of data members X and Y with using the pointer to the member. Let's see the output. Here I am having same program. We will see the output. Just change the value of Y to 20. Then run the program. See, the value of data member X is 10 and the value of data member Y is 20. That is, we can say that by using the pointer to a member of a class, we can access the value of data members of the class. Now let's see our third member dereferencing operator, that is arrow with asterisk symbol. This operator uses a pointer to the class member and a pointer to the object of the same class and to access the member of the class. This class member could be a data member or a member function. That means we can use pointer to object points to the pointer to the data member. We can point to a pointer to a data member with using pointer to the object. Here pointer to the object is the name of the pointer which is pointing to the object of the class, and here pointer to the data member is the name of a pointer which is pointing to the data member of a class. That means here we are dealing with the pointers to the pointer, right? We can say that pointer to the object is a pointer variable which we created in our main section to point to the object, and then we use that particular pointer variable to point to the pointer to the data members which we created in a previous example. Let's see the example here. Same example I have taken where I have created PTR as a pointer to the object OB of class A. Here we can see that A star PTR equal to ampersand OB will create pointer PTR which points to the object OB of class A. Now same way as we did in our previous program, here I have declared pointer P1 which points to the data member X of class A, and pointer P2 which points to data member Y of class A. Now what I am doing in next two lines, I am using pointer PTR other than using the name of a object. So here I am using a pointer name. I have to use pointer dereferencing operator, that is arrow operator with asterisk symbol, and name of a pointer which points to a data member X, that is P1 is equal to the value. Same way I am using the same method with pointer P2 and assigning a same value. Now we have to see the output of this program, and we have created one object of class A, that is OB, then pointer which points to the object OB, that is PTR, and then let's run the program. See, value of X is 30 and value of Y is 30. Once again get back to the program. See here what I have done, I have written here PTR points to P1 and PTR points to P2. This creates to call a value of X and Y by using the pointer to data member as well as pointer to the object method. So this is all about the pointer points to a members of a class and pointers points to object of a class. Students, I hope you understand all the topics covered in this video. Enjoy learning programming in C++. Thank you.